This study is an important one for us because it discusses something that we're all aware of but not conscious of. How many of us, when we think about language, have a stereotype or a bias? So the question is, how do teachers think about language and what ideologies they use? So this project examined how teachers think about the science language that their students are using and how that thinking impacts whether or not they can hear the brilliance in the young people that they're teaching. To explore science teachers thinking about science language, we gave them 4 conditions. Right answer, wrong language. Right answer, right language. Wrong answer, right language. And wrong answer, wrong language. What we were curious about is if we were to create academic scenarios in which they had to think about whether or not the ideas or the language was accurate, how would the way that they think about language, what bias towards language they had, how would that impact their assessment? Most had a tentative idea that they should respect language, but very few thought in a way that truly separated language and content. What that means is that they would oftentimes, as a teacher, enter into classroom environments and expect to hear accurate science language. Where that is potentially dangerous is that our children come from a diversity of backgrounds where speaking using academic language is not a part of their culture. So the first big idea is that what we discovered is teachers think in 2 very different ways. One set of teachers are very traditional and binary in their thinking, that an idea is either right or it's wrong, and that the language is either right or it's wrong. Another group of teachers are what we call spectrum teachers. When they look at students' responses, they look to see what aspect of the concept is right and what aspect of the concept is wrong. That way that the concept exists along a spectrum. Also, they look at language and say, well, language, the part of the language is right or part of the language is wrong. They look at the language as being right or wrong across a spectrum.
And you're going to answer those questions in your journal. So you're going to put those questions down in your journal, answering questions 1, 2, and 3.
If we're truly going to understand what our students understand and think about scientific phenomena, we have to respect the fact that when we come from cultures where we don't use science language, that spectrum thinking is important. We need to be able to see the relationship between the way that they communicate the idea and how we want them to communicate that idea in science. The ultimate result for us is an indication that we need to prepare teachers to think about science along a spectrum of both concept and language so that we can truly understand what our students are thinking.